St. Louis Blues Hockey is brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. By Southwest Airlines, providing frequent flights and low unrestricted fares to many exciting destinations. By your Midwest GMC truck dealers, Bellman, Bomarito, and Brockman at GMC. By your local McDonald's restaurants. Come in and try our new toasted ravioli, but hurry. They're only here for a limited time. By Shop and Save. The more you shop, the more you save. By Hardee's, all kinds of good stuff. By AutoZone, the best part in auto parts. By Discover Card. It pays to discover the card that pays you back. And by Allstate. For home, auto, life, and business, you're in good hands with Allstate.
The skyline of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and just a few miles from that beautiful scene in suburban Bloomington, the Met Center. And the Met Center tonight, the home of a battle between the Blues and the North Stars. The Blues' final road game of the season. It's been a record road season for the Blues. They're bidding for their 23rd win away from home as they take on the red-hot North Stars. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Bloomington, Minnesota. I'm Ken Wilson, along with John Kelly. It's been an interesting season for the Blues, one of their best ever, a season of milestones, and they come into their final road game having won their last three, all of which have been on the road. I guess, John, the question still remains, what are the chances of finishing first in the North and first overall? Chicago's in first place, and well, the chances are not great, in all honesty.
No, 4 games to play, a 4-point deficit. The Blackhawks, 101 points. The Blues, 97, guaranteed their second best record ever. But the Blues certainly would like to keep the pressure on Chicago down the stretch and make Chicago win its last few games, and you never know what can happen.
Well, we all know, John, I'm not the greatest on math, but I think if my numbers are right, any combination of 3, including Hawk wins and Blues losses, and the Hawks will clinch first place with each team having 4 remaining. We mentioned, I think, I'm not promising that.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll get to it later. If it's different than that, it's close anyway. We mentioned it's a season of milestones for the Blues. 22 road wins is a milestone, and it's really a milestone season for Coach Brian Sutter. Only his 3rd season, but look at all the wins he's amassed.
33 in his first year, 37 last year, and already this year, 43 wins. He has surpassed Scotty Bowman as the Blues' all-time winningest coach. And Brian Sutter has made this hockey team a Brian Sutter club. I mean that. He has brought in his kind of players, and make no mistake, they are his men. Only 9 players remain from his first year on the job, so there's been a high turnover, and Brian likes to think that the players he's brought in are character players, the kind that can lead the Blues to the Stanley Cup.
Well, it's been a slow start this season here in Minnesota, but the North Stars, under first-year coach Bob Gainey, have really come on lately. I guess, John, you could say a cold start and a hot finish.
Well, that's the way to finish, hot if you can. They have not lost here at home since mid-January, and the reason for the slow start, according to both the players and Coach Bob Gainey, it took a while for the players to get used to Bob Gainey, and the reverse. It took a while for Bob Gainey to find out what his team was made of, and they've made some changes. 6 players are with the North Stars tonight who weren't here at the start of this year, so he's made some changes like Brian Sutter.
Well, the North Stars and Blues both getting ready for the playoffs. Brett Hull comes into this one with 81 goals. It should be fun. Can the Blues and the North Stars' big streak at home? We'll find out. It's the Blues and the North Stars coming up. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
We are live at the Met Center in Bloomington, Minnesota. The Blues and North Stars, and the Blues' final road game of the regular season. I'm John Kelly. Alongside is Ken Wilson. And the Blues and North Stars meet for the 7th time this year. And so far, the Blues have won the season series, 3 wins, a loss, and 2 ties. And now before tonight's game, our national anthem, sung by the Nicollet, Minnesota High School Choir.
What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched.
pretty good crowd on hand tonight here in Bloomington as the Blues and North Stars meet for the final time here in Minnesota this year. Vincent Riendeau, his 4th consecutive start and goal. He's been great on this road trip. He's allowed only 4 goals in his last 3 games on the year record of 26, 9, and 6. At the other end is Jon Casey, who has really played well against the Blues for the last 3 years. On the year, Casey, a record of 20-18 and 11 and a fine average of 2.93. Although this year, Casey is 0-2 against the Blues at a 2.62 average. The referee tonight, Kerry Fraser, and the linesmen, Gord Brossiker and Dan Shakti. The Blues begin with their big line of Oates, Lowry, and Hall, and Ken Wilson, who would be nice to make it 4 in a row going home for the last 3.
Oh, it'd be great to do that and end up the season with 23 road victories. And as play begins, the North Stars own the puck in their own end. Duchesne rink wide for Dahlquist, too far, and Lowry shoots it in. This is Broughton between Duchesne and Gavin on the forward line for Minnesota. Tinordi and Dahlquist on defense. Finally, Broughton tips the puck to the line and not out. Now the North Stars bring it to center ice. And it's lost. An opportunity for Oates from Hall. Back to Hall. And that pass broken up. Stevens at the left point. A shot right on. Kicked out by Casey as Lowry was right there. Now it's centered. Hall a shot blocked by Tinordi. And here comes Neil Broughton. He works to center ice and will just shoot the puck in as the North Stars change on the fly. Scott Stevens at his own end. Up to Hall. Back to Stevens. Ahead for Jeff Brown. A feed at the North Stars line for Oates. And then he overskates the puck as the Blues look to change. And then the Blues are offside at the Minnesota blue line. Just 2 seconds short of the 1-minute mark here in a scoreless first period.
A good shift by the Oates line as Brett Hall and Lowry had pretty good opportunities. Stevens on the left point let a low shot go, and Lowry in front did a nice job to redirect the puck, and Casey made a good stick save. Oates had 3 assists in the game against the Islanders on the weekend. And Brian Sutter, as I said, would like to keep the pressure on the Blackhawks and make them win some games down the stretch.
Blues make a quick line change, and the play is offside right from the faceoff. The Blues again offside at the Minnesota blue line. Garth Butcher from Vancouver in that last Blues deal has really been a stalwart on defense. He's been a huge addition.
Every team could use a Garth Butcher. He's not flashy, won't pick up a lot of points. He only has 21 points on the year, but he plays tough. He's there every night. He's missed very few games in his career. He's sort of like a pitcher who'll give you 30 or 40 starts every year and do a nice job.
Here's the face-off at center ice. The Blues shoot the puck in. Casey knocks it down behind the net for Kurt Giles. Kurt Giles gets it ahead. Left wing Trop. Gagne digs after it. Modano's the center. And Basson takes Gagne out in the corner. Paul Cavallini gets the puck across to Butcher, up to Mahar. Now the Blues are changing. Mahar loses the puck at his own line. And Trop moves in. Can't get a shot as Paul Cavallini comes back to help out Mahar. Paul Cavallini at center ice. Pope check. Garth Butcher with it now. Ahead to brind'amour, and he flips the puck in. brind'amour, Bassett, and Mahar on this line. Blues get it behind the North Stars net. Then Bureau ties up the Blues player. Bassett spins away, leaves it for Mahar behind the net. Here's Rick Mahar along the near boards. He'll send it behind the North Stars net. Casey plays it to the corner, right onto brind'amour's stick. He centers, quick shot by Bassett, hits the side of the net. Now Quinn replaces Mahar. The North Stars work out to center ice, can't go anywhere. The Blues shoot the puck in, and the North Stars will start out. Up from the defense for Minnesota. And the puck shot in, and Marois will play it out around the boards and the length of the ice after Chambers dumps it in. And Tinordi back for it, touches it, and it is an icing call against the Blues. No score early here in Minnesota. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
No score in the game. Not dressed tonight for the Blues. Tom Tilley, Steve Tuttle, and Glenn Featherstone. Of course, Kelly Chase is suspended, and Curtis Joseph back home with the knee injury.
Blues win the faceoff in their own zone. Scott Stevens, right wing for Kimball, who's on with Quinn and Bruce. Can't get it out. Now Bellows with a North shot. A shot right on. And the rebound tipped just wide. Left point Tinordi. In the corner to Bureau. Out to the right point. Dahlquist. A shot pass goes wide. Then Bellows tied up behind the net by Jeff Brown, and Darren Kimball starts out. The Blues 4-on-3 at center ice to Quinn. Left wing to Bruce. Over the line. Slowed up by Dahlquist and taken heavily to the boards. Blues control. Quinn leaves it in the corner. Dahlquist intercepts. Quinn steals it back. Centers. And the puck tipped away to Mike Craig. Now to Mark Bureau in his 6th game with Minnesota. The youngster drives the puck into the corner, and it dies there. Jeff Brown for the Blues leaves it behind his net for Scott Stevens. Up the middle in a right wing pass too far, and back for the puck goes Brian Glenn. Over to Kurt Giles. Now up the middle it comes to the veteran Bobby Smith. Over the line, Smith. He'll take a shot, and it hits the post or crossbar. He made a great move around the Blues defense, but hits the iron. Blues Lowry comes out with a pass off Hull's stick at center ice. And the North Stars with a puck in their own end. Kurt Giles, the Minnesota captain, plays it across to Brian Glenn, longtime farmhand of the Calgary Flames, and he fires the puck into the Blues zone. And McRae is taken down. No call. This crowd, which is large for here, upset. Blues at center ice. Hull to Oates. Over the line with Lowry. A pass to Hull to Lowry in front. And he tips it right on. A good pad save by Casey. Back the other way, Minnesota. Shot ahead. And into the Blues zone, and back for it is Butcher. Butcher from behind his net looks up the right side to Hull, who takes a pass and hands it to Gavin. Play back now to the Minnesota defense, and a pass at center ice to Gavin. He leaves it at the line for Broughton. His shot goes off the leg of Paul Cavallini, and the puck cleared out to center ice. Here's Oates, a pass intended for Hull, but it deflects to Jon Casey. He leaves it there for Chambers. Up to Broughton. Right side to Gavin, the veteran, over the line. Gavin overskates the puck, tied up by Paul Cavallini. Puck in the Blues end. There's no score. Coming up to the 5-minute mark. Now Marois takes over in the corner. Paul Cavallini helps out. Broughton is forechecking with Duchesne. They pin the puck in the corner, and referee Kerry Fraser calls a halt to the action. No score in the first period. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Some good up and down action here in Bloomington. No score. Bellows took a shot from about 35 feet away. It hit Riendeau and went off Mike Craig in front, and then Riendeau knocked it away. Later on the same shift, Bobby Smith walked around Brett Hull and rang one off the crossbar. He beat Riendeau glove side, but the goaltender's best friend made the save there.
Coming up to the 5-minute mark, the face-off to Riendeau's left. Bureau loses it to Wilson of the Blues. Stevens behind the net. He's on defense with Brown. Ron Wilson is centering Kimball and David Bruce, and Kimball in his own end with a puck. A pass tipped away from Ron Wilson. Here's Mark Tinordi for Minnesota. To Mark Bureau, played a bit at Salt Lake City. Oh, he's taken down by Stevens on a great hip check. Then Dahlquist has the puck stolen by Stevens. Up at center ice, the Blues. David Bruce overskates it, and Mike Madonna takes over. His pass hits a skate, and the puck loose at center ice, now controlled by the veteran Ron Wilson. He's under pressure from Bureau. Plays it up ahead to Scott Stevens at the checkered red line. Now to David Bruce, who spent most of the year at Peoria. Quick shot, and a stick save by Casey. Brian Propp clears the zone for Minnesota. The Blues are changing. Here's Brown to Bassett. In over the Minnesota line to Rich Sutter in front. A shot, and a pad save by Casey as he sticks out his left leg. Back the other way, Brian Propp from the blue line. He tests Riendeau, who has to come up with a staunch save. And the Blues, Mahar in his own end to Basson. Back to Mahar. Rink wide to Rich Sutter. Now to Marois. And a pass too far for Sutter. And the North Stars go back in their own zone for the puck. Good check behind the net by Rich Sutter. And McRae just clears it out. Snaps with it. Ahead to Basson. Back at the center circle to Marois. Long shot and a stick save by Casey. And the North Stars, Kurt Giles with it. Left wing to Basil McRae. Now in the middle it comes. And the play broken up by Snaps. At center ice, Minnesota. Puck shot back in by Glenn. And back for it is Marois. Minnesota's changing. Up to Lowry. Lowry at the blue line to Oates. With Hull. The pass to Hull. He's poke check. Gets it right back, but it's offside. St. Louis at the Minnesota blue line. Minnesota with 2 shots. The Blues with 5, and there's no score. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Ago, Rich Sutter broke around the North Stars defense, and he was upset there was no call as he was held up by Mark Bureau. pulled down. Bureau, the rookie, got his arm on him, and then later Sutter, still upset, really runs Doug Smale behind the North Star goal. But no score in the contest, but a nice, good pace to this game, Ken. Some good up and down action.
I guess you could say that the veteran referee, Kerry Fraser, is letting them play, certainly not calling anything. Puck now at the Minnesota defense. Jim Johnson with it. He plays it across, now up to Chambers, too far. And the North Stars go back for it. Chambers up on the near side, too far for Mike Craig. He's on with Bellows and Broughton. And the Blues take over at their defense. Up the middle of the rink, Paul Cavallini. Now ahead to Oates, who's knocked down. Back to Paul Cavallini in front for Hall. And he's well covered by Broughton, unable to get a shot. Craig to Broughton. He's got Chambers and Bellows with him. Broughton, a good playmaker, over the line into the corner in front for Bellows, but Butcher back to knock the puck away. And it's loose for Paul Cavallini. He loses it to Mike Craig. Craig, the youngster, to Broughton in the slot. A shot wide. The rebound comes in front, and Riendeau is bumped and inadvertently knocks the net loose from the Magnets, and that stops the action. 7 minutes and 31 seconds into the period. It has been a very lively first period, and this crowd is lively. This is by far the largest crowd the Blues have played before here in Minnesota this season.
Brett Hull had a pretty good opportunity moments ago, but Broughton got back and held him up to the last second. Early in this game, they used Broughton against the Oates line. At the other end, Broughton flipped the puck in front. Riendeau was going the other way across, and had it gone off a skater or stick, Riendeau would have looked bad on the centering feed. Most of the time, Bob Gainey likes to put Gavin against the Brett Hull line, but on the last shift, he had Craig out there with Bellows and Broughton. Some offense against offense.
Dan Quinn ready for the face-off against Mark Bureau. Minnesota undefeated in their last 13 here at home. 11 wins and 2 ties. In fact, they've won 5 in a row at home. Blues control it in their own end. Bruce gets the pass from Stevens, can't get it out. And finally, it's brought to center ice by David Bruce. Over to brind'amour. Quinn is the center. brind'amour shoots the puck in. Former Pittsburgh Penguin Chris Dahlquist back behind his net. His pass hits Quinn, but he's helped out as Tinordi clears the zone. Up to Bureau, looking for either Modano or Prop, and the pass fails to click, and the Blues clear it ahead, but it's an offside pass from in the Blues defensive zone out over the center checkered red line. Well, Dan Quinn has come alive, had a great power play goal the other night, and is playing well now for the Blues. Bob Gainey, meanwhile, John Kelly really changing his lines around a lot here in the first period.
He has used about 8 different combinations. The North Stars played yesterday in Chicago, lost 5-4. They were winning 1-0 in the second, but the Hawks got 4 goals in a span of 3 minutes and 48 seconds. The North Stars made it close in the third, came back and fell a goal short. But Gainey said yesterday, in the last couple of games, as a matter of fact, his North Stars have played only about 70% up to their capability. And Ken, you know, you don't win very often when you don't play over 90%.
Well, when you play good teams like Chicago and St. Louis, teams that almost always are giving 100%, you're going to lose a lot. Up through center ice, Stevens into the Minnesota line in front, and Sutter can't get a good shot away as the puck sort of slips away and is kicked out. Now in the corner, the Blues leave the puck. Rich Sutter has it. Mahar moves in front, passing along the boards also. Rich Sutter knocked down. The puck comes loose to Smale. Up to Basil McCray. McCray into the blue zone, fans on a shot attempt, and Brown clears it ahead, and there'll be a penalty call. Kerry Fraser will call the first penalty of this game. There is no score here at the Met Center, and the penalty will be against Rich Sutter. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Rich Sutter off for hooking at 8:29, no score. Our first power play. The North Stars on the power play this year, 11th overall, 19.6%. The Blues penalty killing continues to excel, 84%. It's third best in the league.
And one of the key penalty killers is Rich Sutter, who's serving the penalty. The face-off deep in the St. Louis end. And the puck to the left point to Broughton. Right point to Tinordi. Back to Broughton. Right circle to Modano. Across the slot intended for Prop. Tipped away. Kept in by the North Stars. They play it around behind the net to the near side. The youngster Mike Modano against Stevens. Now the veteran Prop comes in. Moves in front. Takes a shot wide. Bellows digs it out of the corner to Broughton at the left point. Right point to Tinordi. Across the rink for Bellows. In front is Prop. Bellows a shot. stick save, Riendeau, and the Blues, Lowry unable to clear. Tinordi keeps it into Modano. He gives the puck back to Tinordi, side of the net for Propp, and he can't get a good shot on goal, well covered by Butcher. Out of the corner, Bellows centering for Tinordi, out of his reach. Butcher knocked down by Propp. Ryan Propp skates with a puck behind the St. Louis net. He's checked by Butcher, and then Stevens attempts to clear and can't. Broughton at the left point. Over to the near point now. To Modano, and the puck tipped out to center ice by Lowry. There's still a minute to go in the Minnesota power play. No score here in the first period with 10:29 to go. Modano moves in over the line. A pass for Tinordi intercepted. Stevens can't clear. Broughton, a quick shot deflected wide by Butcher. Tinordi for Minnesota in the corner. Plays it back to Broughton. In the middle to Propp. Now in the near corner for Modano. He's slashed at by Stevens and drilled down by Wilson. Stevens in the corner, pinned to the boards by defenseman Mark Tinordi, and play is stopped deep in the Blues zone with Minnesota in the midst of a power play with 35 seconds remaining in that power play.
And Modano is seeing stars right now, not North Stars, but stars, as the Blues' Ron Wilson and Scott Stevens roughed him up. And he is going off. A wicked slash. First by Stevens, and then Wilson comes in and gets a nice shot with his left arm or elbow, really upending Modano rather heavily. North Stars did have a couple of good chances. Propp cut in front, but he put it just wide to the far side. The North Stars power play really killed them yesterday in Chicago. They were 0 for 8 against the Blackhawks.
Now the face-off in the circle to the right of the Blues goal. Bobby Smith against Rick Mahar. Chambers on the right point for Minnesota. They can't get the puck back to him. As the Blues, Bassin gets it, and he shoots at the length of the ice. Bassin, Mahar, Paul Cavallini, and Sneps in front of Vince Riendeau. 25 seconds to go in Minnesota North Stars man advantage. Under 10 to go in the period. There's no score. Minnesota through center ice. Brian Glenn drives the puck in. It circles behind the net. Out on the near side. Smith digging it out in the corner. Smith behind the net for Minnesota. Poke check. And Mahar gets the puck and backhands it out. Now Chambers races after it in his own end. Beats Bassin to it. And off the boards, Minnesota controls. Now the penalty is up. Mike Craig through center ice. Has the puck stolen for a moment and then knocked away by Sutter to Oates, but offside on the play is Brett Hull. 9:24 to go in the scoreless first period. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Scratch tonight for the North Stars, defensemen Rob Zettler and Neil Wilkinson. Also out, Perry Berezan, Ulf Dahlin, and tough right winger Shane Churla. No score, 9:20 left first period.
Minnesota wins the neutral faceoff. Mark Tinordi circles in front of Jon Casey. And a sharp pass. Eludes Duchesne. Goes the length of the ice. Stevens touches it. Icing is the call against Minnesota.
You can own a deluxe satellite system for $1,995. Shipment can be sent anywhere in the U.S. Call Arnold Satellite Systems at 1-800-727-2911 for your deluxe satellite system. Let's pause 5 seconds here for station identification. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
You're watching Blues hockey on St. Louis 11.
No score, 9:11 left in the first period. Oates out between Paul and Gino Cavallini, and Bobby Smith on the face-off against Oates. So yet another line combination for the North Stars against Oates.
And the face-off near the Minnesota net. The North Stars coming off a road trip. They lost 2. The Blues on this road trip have won 3 in a row after a loss in Chicago. North Stars win the draw. Here's Tinordi, who's on defense with Dahlquist, working his way to center ice. Now into the Blues zone on the right wing. Looks to pass in front and can't against Stevens. They go after the puck in the corner. Tinordi and Stevens bump. A battle for the puck, and finally Oates plays it behind the net to Brown. Around the near side to Gino Cavallini. He tries to clear it out and does. Racing back for it, Stuart Gavin. He leaves it at his own line for Dahlquist. Dahlquist plays it across the rink to Tinordi. He'll shoot it in, and Minnesota begins a line change. Riendeau clears from the side of the net around the boards for Bruce. He'll give the puck to Oates. Back to David Bruce. Leading goal scorer this season in the IHL. Into the Minnesota line. Bruce puts on the break, centers, but the puck deflects high and comes down to Brian Bellows. Bellows with Bureau and Craig. Long shot. Oh, it really takes a dive. A good save by Riendeau. And Brown clears to Oates, who stopped coming out of his own end, but Paul Cavallini carries on with a burst of speed into the Minnesota zone, spun around a bit by Johnson. The puck at the side of the net. David Bruce, a shot, hits the side of the goal. The puck in the air. Casey grabs it and holds the puck for a faceoff. With 7:56 remaining in this action-packed first period. No score.
Good rush by Paul Cavallini. He got the puck in deep, and Oates tried to put it in front. Bruce, from a bad angle, throws it toward the net, and then Cavallini on the rebound nearly got it over Casey. And the North Stars cleared the zone. If there's one area in which the Blues can exploit the North Stars, and where I think they have a clear advantage, Ken, is on defense. When you compare the Blues' defense against the North Stars, to me, the Blues have a decided edge, and they might have as much depth on defense as any team in the AHL.
That's really been upgraded, the Blues defense, over the last few seasons. Minnesota with the punt. Johnson behind the net. He's got Chambers in the corner, who accepts the pass. Craig is up front with Modano and Bellows. Blues slow up the North Stars. Now a feed for Bellows into the Blues zone. Gets away. He's tied up in the corner by Butcher, and Quinn ends up with a puck. Right side to Brind'amour. Crisscrossing at center ice with Bruce the other wing. Brind'amour dumps it in. Jon Casey out of the crease, clears from behind the net up the near side all the way to center ice. And Paul Cavallini knocked down by Bellows, but maintains possession. Then the puck stolen away by Jim Johnson. He's got Broughton in front, but it's offside. The play is offside, Minnesota, and they are really bellyaching. 7:15 to go in a scoreless first period. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
North Stars just offside at the line. Johnson coming across the line. He was forced at the blue line, and a man on right wing, not Bellows, but a player on the right wing side, went offside, and the fans were not happy. Meanwhile, penalties to Paul Cavallini and Brian Bellows at 12:45, offsetting minors, so the teams remain at full strength.
At center ice, the puck batted around a little bit, and Mahar will take care of his own end. Back to Jeff Brown behind the net. Jeff Brown starts out in front of the goal, gives it to Stevens, and in return, it comes to Brown. Up the middle to Basson. He has Mahar with him, and Sutter. Basson's shot blocked at the defense by Glenn, who rides Basson and the puck into the corner. Sutter there looking for a loose puck, can't come up with it. It goes around to the far side. The Blues, Mahar plays it to the right point. Jeff Brown, a shot off the shoulder of Sutter and wide. Then Sutter rams into Kurt Giles in the corner. They fight for the puck. Giles holds Sutter away from it. Mahar looking vulture-like to snare it out of the corner, and he does. He's got a man in front, and it's Stevens up from the point, but he's unable to accept the pass. Stevens then can't come up with it. Modano gets it ahead to Smith. Too far at center ice for Prop. Here's a Brown pass to Sutter at the Minnesota line. Rich Sutter puts on the brakes. Blues are changing. He's got to go it alone. A bad angle shot hits the side of the net. Bobby Smith started his career with Minnesota. Went to Montreal, back to Minnesota, loses the puck in the corner. Giles covers up, gets it back to Bobby Smith, and he feeds into the middle of Prop. Right wing to Modano. Minnesota changing. Modano around net, shoots and shoots wide. The youngster Mike Modano with a burst of speed. Now Bureau unable to keep the puck in, and Oates pokes it to center ice. Modano wrists it into the corner, and back for Dave Lowry. Lowry off the boards behind the net to Jeff Brown. Minnesota changing again. Up to Hall. Hall almost collides with Oates, circles back in his own end, and a forward pass to Brown forces him to retreat. Gavin takes him out. Duchesne steals, snuffs him out in the corner. Then Lowry taken to the boards. Puck in the corner in the Blues end. Oates comes up with it, as he often does, and feeds to open ice to Jeff Brown. Back to Oates on the left wing over the line. He drops it for Lowry, but Dahlquist back to steal the puck for Minnesota, and they clear the zone. And the play is stopped. I believe the puck hit a North Stars player on the bench. 5:13 left. No score in the first period. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Mike Modano in his second year, he has great speed, went wide on steps, got around him, and his little wrist shot was turned aside by Riendeau with his blocker. If you want the great taste of Bud Light, you got to make the best call of the night. Ask for a Bud Light, because everything else is just a light. No score, 5:13 to go in the first period, and a very evenly played period. The Blues have outshot the Stars 8-6.
Mike Modano with that great speed. He's only 20 years of age. Has 60 points here in his second season. Face off inside the Minnesota line. Oates sneaks in front to Hall. He scores! On a tip in, Brett Hall set up beautifully by Oates. They both somehow get behind enemy lines from the face-off and make it look easy as if it were a morning practice. Hall with number 82.
Oates puts it right through Bureau's legs. And then the North Star defenseman Dahlquist missed it, and Oates finds Hall wide open. How many times this year have we seen Hall and Oates combine for a goal right off a face-off? But on the play, Bureau let Oates go, and then Dahlquist made the bad play. He comes in and misses it. Oates gets it to Hall, and then Tinordi back near the goal let Hall go. So really, 3 North Stars missed their men on that play. And when you dad against Brett Hall and Adam Oates, you're asking for trouble, and they got it in Hall's 82nd of the year.
Very good anticipation by Oates and Hall. Very poor anticipation by Minnesota. And the North Stars win the face-off, lose the puck at center ice. Gino Cavallini shoots it in. It won't be icing as it's played by Jon Casey into the corner to Sean Chambers. Bad pass. Wilson intercepts. Back to Sneps at the point. Into the corner for Gino Cavallini. Blues up 1-0. Under 5 to go. First period. In the corner, a fight for the puck. It comes loose. And lanky Bobby Smith clears all the way back into the St. Louis end. Mario Marois, number 44, puts on the brakes. Behind the net, up to Kimball. A pass off the skate of Gino Cavallini. He plays it right side out of Wilson's reach, and it's offside. Blues, who have Marois and Sneps on defense and Wilson at center. Believe me, that's a lot of NHL mileage out on the ice with that combination.
Bobby Smith, as Ken mentioned, back with the North Stars this year. He has not scored a goal in 11 games. He was the North Stars' first pick in 1978, first overall. Then he won a Stanley Cup with the Canadiens in 1986, and now back in Minnesota. And on the year, Bobby Smith, 14 goals, 26 assists. And I guess, Ken, that's all you could really expect from a veteran center. Smith now 32 years old.
Blues shoot the puck in, change lines. 14:52, Hull's 82nd from Oates. Broughton knocked down by his own man at his line, almost loses it, but clears it out. And Paul Cavallini blasts the puck back in. And it's on to Propstick. Nice flip pass at center ice to Broughton. Over the line with Modano. Modano after the puck bumps Bassett, and it ends up behind the St. Louis net on Paul Cavallini's stick. In front of the net to Butcher. He cautiously gets it ahead to Bassett, who's flying. Left wing to Mahar over the line. Back to Bassett. A shot! And Casey, a very good save. Very good work by the Blues all the way from one end to the other. Minnesota clears it to center ice. Butcher gets it ahead, and Bassett tips it into the Stars zone. Here is Modano, taken out by Sutter, but he gets rid of the puck to Dahlquist at the red line. Left wing for Bureau. He'll overskate the puck, then Tinordi into the corner, ridden to the boards by Butcher. Bureau trying to get the puck, does. Tries to center to Prop. Prop takes a weak shot, and Riendeau stops that. Prop got a shot away and had a Blues player all over him. Now Tinordi and Butcher having words, and the linesmen come between them as the action is stopped with 3:20 to go in the period, and the Blues with the only goal by who else but number 16, Brett Hall.
Blues have showed exceptional speed in this game, and speed created a great chance earlier. Baston in on left wing takes a nice pass from Mahar, and Casey had to make an arm save on Bob Bassett. Well, have you been to the home of the world's largest brewer lately? Anheuser-Busch offers free tours of the brewery, including a visit with the famous Budweiser Clydesdales. And for tour information, call 577-2626. A rather lively and large crowd for Minnesota this year on hand tonight. I would say over 10,000. I remember opening night here, Ken, there weren't over 4,000.
Last time we were here, they said they had 4,000 or 5,000, and there couldn't have been any more than 3,000 in the building. But big crowd tonight for Minnesota. Blues stopped at center ice. Puck shot in by Chambers. Brown backcourt. Clears it, not out. Bureau kicks it ahead. Brown slaps at it. Bellows knocks it down with his glove. Steers it behind the Blues net, and the Blues, Jeff Brown takes over. To Scott Stevens. He'll work to the middle of the ice. Now to the red line. As brind'amour on his right. Quinn trails with Bruce. Stevens into the corner. Centers. And it gets by the Blues players to Bellows. One man back, Brown. Bellows up the left wing. He'll take a shot. Blocked by Brown. And the puck goes over the net. Blues did a good job coming back. Bruce takes a pass from Brind'amour. David Bruce, center ice. He'll flip the puck in and head for the bench. Both teams are changing with 2:25 to go in the opening period. Mike Craig gets the puck for Minnesota across the ice behind Chambers. But the North Stars' Jim Johnson carries on, and it's offside. Minnesota at the St. Louis line with 2:18 to go. And the Blues leading 1-0 and out shooting the North Stars 10-7. You know, you talk about Bobby Smith, a veteran. John Brian Bellows has been here a long time. He is in his 9th season, the MVP a year ago when he had 55 goals on this team.
And tonight he's playing in his 670th game, which ties him with Bill Goldsworthy for 4th all-time on the North Stars. Not having as good a year as he had a year ago. Bellows still getting a lot of chances. He has 277 shots this year, but nowhere near the 50-plus goals he had last year. Only 32 goals on the year for Bellows.
Neutral face-off. Broughton wins it from Oates. Tinordi shoots the puck in. It's gloved by Riendeau. Marois with it behind the net. He's on defense with Sneps. Oates centering Lowry and Hull. Marois starts out of his end to Sneps. Sneps, of course, played for Minnesota at one time, but he's played for a lot of teams. Blues are changing. North Stars intercept. Brian Propp moves in. Left wing pass knocked down, and Marois clears it out. Hull tips the puck into the Minnesota zone, and Dahlquist back for it. 1:50 to go. Blues lead 1-0 first period. Dahlquist at center ice, right side to Broughton. Behind the back pass surprises Dahlquist. He chases for the puck behind the net. Sneps all over him. Dahlquist leaves it behind the net, and Mahar intercepts. Tries to clear it out and does with the help of Basson. Basson tries to break away from Madonna, who steals it. Nice pass for Broughton. Broughton slowly through center ice, just lifts the puck into the corner, and both teams are changing with 1:23 to go in the first period. Blues Butcher at center ice, checked by McRae, and the puck dumped in by the Blues Sutter. Minnesota back for it. Here's Brian Glenn. Up to McRae. Hull knocks it down at center ice, but Bobby Smith brings it in now. On the right wing, Smith into the corner, centers! Oh, and somehow, Smale just couldn't deflect it in, and he really took a shot. Here's the Blues. Paul Cavallini giving it away. Smith to Smale. Spun around again. Doug Smale in the corner. Stopped by Butcher. Here's Basil McRae looking to center. Back to the point. Brian Glenn winds up. Long shot. Good save by Riendeau. A pad save. They knock McRae down, and the Blues 3-on-2 at center ice. Lowry with Oates. Hull trails. So does Paul Cavallini, who takes the pass, takes the shot. It's blocked. Back the other way. Bobby Smith to McRae. The Blues really coming back well. McRae over the line. Can't get around Brown. Forced to the corner. Then Lowry taken out by Smale. Boy, the Blues came back like a bunch of racehorses. They just outskated the North Stars, and now the puck held in the corner long enough for a whistle to stop play with only 20 seconds remaining. Boy, McRae has taken some hits. He's a tough guy, much in the style of Blues coach Brian Sutter. He'll give, and he will take.
North Stars with some good opportunities. Smith in on right wing, puts it in front to Smale. He missed it, and then he was really creamed by Butcher. That's the way to clear the front of the net as he missed the pass. And then the North Stars moments ago on the point, it was let go by Glenn. The rebound right in front. McRae looking for the rebound, but he never did find it, and the Blues cleared it away. This broadcast authorized by the Blues Hockey Club solely for the entertainment of our viewing and listening audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the description and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the St. Louis Blues Hockey Club is prohibited.
Ken Wilson, John Kelly at the Mets Center. The Blues with the only goal. Hull is 82nd from Oates at 14:52 here in the opening period. It'll be Bobby Smith to face off near the Blues net against Ron Wilson. Now Ron Wilson moves in for the faceoff. Blues have outshot the North Stars 10-9. They drop the puck. Wilson gets in the way as Smith shoves it behind the net for Stevens. Left side to Bassett. With Wilson and Kimball at center ice. Right wing to Kimball. He'll shovel it in. Tinordi back for Minnesota in the corner. Ridden to the boards by Wilson. Then Bureau gets it out to Bellows. He's poke checked. And the North Stars Glenn carries on and chops the puck in. And that's the end of the first period here at the Mets Center in Bloomington, Minnesota. Riendeau had a good period. but then he has really played well. Only 3 losses in his last 17 games. Jon Casey playing well also, unbeaten in his last 10 at home. The only goal, Brett Hull from Adam Oates at 14:52. 1-0 St. Louis. This is St. Louis Blues hockey. Back to Bloomington, Minnesota. Both teams are on the ice for the second period, and the Blues on a Brett Hull goal lead 1-0. The final 3 will be at home. Blues against the Islanders this Thursday night, Group Appreciation Night. For more information, call the Blues Sales Department, 781-5300. Then Saturday, the Maple Leafs at the arena for Budweiser Team Poster Night. The first 15,000 of you 21 and over will receive a team poster. And the final game at home against Minnesota, the final regular season game at 6:05 on Sunday night. That's Fan Appreciation Night. Remember that single game playoff tickets for the first round are on sale now. You can call 434-6600. That's dial tix. And be sure to take part. Get your playoff tickets for the first round. Game 1 on April the 4th. And, of course, Game 2 on Saturday night, April the 6th. The tickets are available at the arena box office and all of the usual Blues ticket outlets. They went on sale today, and they continue on sale.
And I understand there was a pretty good line at 6 a.m. this morning, and Bruce Affleck wanted me to mention the fact that Wendell Stevens from the Hampton Avenue McDonald's was on hand to provide free coffee and muffins to all the fans. So that was a nice gesture.
A very nice touch. Folks getting their playoff tickets early. Almost a playoff atmosphere here. The fans coming alive in Minnesota. The North Stars 13 in a row at home without losing. It's the second period, and here's John Kelly.
Thank you, Ken. The Blues go from our left to right here in period 2. North Stars get the draw, clear it in. Riendeau pokes it to the far corner. Dahlquist pinches in, but Lowry there. He's tied up by 2 North Stars. Neil Broughton kicks it in deep. Stevens holds his man to the boards. That is Duchesne, and they finally hold it long enough for a faceoff. By the way, Dave Gagne, I don't see him on the North Stars bench, Ken, and I don't recall him being on the ice late in that first period.
He apparently got hurt relatively early in the period. We've had no report, but he has not returned for this period. The only other game tonight in the NHL is at Montreal, and it's 1-1, the Whalers and the Canadiens. On the road, we've mentioned the Blues 22-13-4, best in the NHL. By far their best road record ever. They've never won more than 17 on the road. And the big statistic on Minnesota, undefeated at home in their last 13.
Blues lead the game 1-0 on a Hull goal. Oates clears the puck to center ice. Dahlquist at his own line to Broughton, tipped ahead. Now Duchesne on left wing. At his own line for Tinordi. He gets into the Blues zone on right wing. Tinordi makes a move, gets it by Stevens. Centers it to Broughton, a shot! And he missed the goal from 5 feet away. Then Stevens for the Blues on left wing. Pass to center. That's tipped away by Dahlquist. Now shot in by Duchesne. Here's Jeff Brown behind the Blues goal. Up on left wing to Lowry. He missed the pass at center. Carried on by Stevens. Tried to feed Hull. Broken up, though. And now Johnson at his own line for Minnesota. 2 Chambers ahead for Madonna. Into the Blues zone. A shot. And Brown took that one on the left ankle. And the puck off his leg to center. And Brown limps off. Now the North Stars in their own zone. Chambers on left wing. Ahead for Bureau. Checked at center. Now Bassett. He was bumped at feet. Stevens. They'll play it off the board. Chambers for Minnesota on right wing. Good pass to Madonna. Into the Blues zone. Madonna. Now to Bellows. A rocket. What a save by Riendeau on Bellows on a great setup. And that was Riendeau's best stop of the game.
Oh, you don't see many any better than that save by Vince Riendeau. Madonna with absolutely blazing speed and a terrific pass into the slot, and Bellows one-times it. It's hard to imagine any quicker reactions. Meanwhile, moments earlier, Madonna let a shot go, and that was taken on the ankle by Jeff Brown. Believe me, he was glad it was late in a shift. He headed for the bench, just kind of cooling out a little bit on the bench now, hoping that pain will leave that ankle. Well, we've seen some good moves from Mike Modano, the 20-year-old, the Detroit native. They have high hopes for him here, and he's played well tonight.
Blues lead 1-0. We've played a minute 50 of the second period. Now the Blues in their own zone get the puck to center. Picked up by Bellows again. In on right wing to Bureau. Back to Modano. Beats Cavallini. Centers to Bellows. Tipped away. Then Paul Cavallini feeds it up on left wing to Bassett. Bassett to center. Pass across the line. Giles there. Knocked it away. Now Paul Cavallini. Back in across the line. Flip pass in front. Modano there to knock it away. And it goes off the hard stick over the boards. And the faceoff will be back at center ice.
The youngster Modano is just about everywhere. Just in this shift, two brilliant plays. A great move on Paul Cavallini. This young fella is just beginning to fill out physically. Much more physical tonight than he has been in other games we've seen him in his NHL stint. And there are, yes, a number of Blues fans here at the Met Center tonight.
Dave Deese and Dick Dillon here watching the game, along with Tom Whaley, Thomas Giesel, and Brad Schaefer. Blues have a 1-0 lead. North Stars shoot the puck in. McRae on left wing gets to it, puts it toward the goal, and Riendeau grabs it just before the North Star player Smith could get to it. Blues up by 1. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Well, the Blues up 1-0. Their victories here in October 3-2 and in November 3-2, and just before Christmas here the Blues lost to the North Stars 7-3. That's the only loss in 6 games to Minnesota, but there have been a couple of ties.
Blues lead this one 1-0. North Stars get the draw right of Riendeau. Back on the point. Johnson a shot and a body save by Riendeau, and he hangs on for another faceoff. Well, the North Stars have had some pretty good chances in this period.
This time Bellows gets it back to Jim Johnson, the long-time Pittsburgh defenseman. He just did what some defensemen have been known to do: shoot for the middle of the goal and hope you miss. That time he put it right in the middle and right off the chest protector of Blues goalie Vincent Riendeau.
Bureau on the face-off here against Ron Wilson. Wilson gets it behind the Blues goal, 4 steps. Good pass to Wilson. At center ice, he'll scoop it in. Puck off the boards, comes in front, but Chambers diving, touches the puck. And an icing call here on the Blues.
Darren Kimball taking quite a tumble. It was Kimball that they had in mind when it was shot in. He couldn't quite get there, and just kind of checking his skates, checking that edge. And the Blues looking forward to getting home. This has been a long trip, as long as any trip this season. 5 games starting in Chicago with a loss, and maybe a big turning point when the Blues went to Washington and picked up a victory. A win in Washington, a win in Philadelphia, a win at the New York Islanders at a time when the Blues weren't able to win, and some folks were getting concerned as the Blues were coming closer to playoff time. But they have turned it around again, primarily by playing very good defensive hockey.
Blues have allowed only 4 goals on 73 shots in their last 3 games. Off the draw, though, McRae in front. His shot blocked. Smale put the rebound wide. Stevens near corner for the Blues. Gets it up on right wing near the line. Now Ron Wilson pokes it back to center. North Stars hammer it back in. Here's Jeff Brown on right wing. Chops it back to the North Stars line. Johnson across for Chambers. Tipped into the Blues zone by Smale. Riendeau flips it on right wing. Smale knocked it down, a shot. That is 6 saved by Riendeau. Smale near corner. He was knocked down, and then a high stick on Stevens. A delayed call here as the Blues. Jeff Brown gets the puck. Smale got a stick up on Stevens, who is now just getting up. Blues have their goalie pulled on this delayed call. Jeff Brown to Oates at center ice. Blues up 6 attackers. Oates across the line to Wilson in the slot. Gino Cavallini, a shot, he scores! Gino Cavallini, his first goal in 35 games, and the Blues lead 2-0.
Boy, that's a giveaway goal by Minnesota. A delayed call. The Blues set things up. And it really turned into a power play with Riendeau on the bench. Wilson, a fine pass. And Gino Cavallini scores low on Jon Casey. Just inside the post. Boy, it's been a long while for Gino. And the veteran with seniority on this team picks up his 8th of the season and his 33rd point. Blues lead at 2-0. Meanwhile, Smale, just a little guy, really driven down by Scott Stevens, and then Smale's stick catches Stevens. That was the penalty that was going to be called.
However, because the Blues scored, no penalty is called. Now off the faceoff and offside. Meanwhile, Dan Quinn is slow in getting back into play. The Blues have a 2-0 lead. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Dan Quinn checked at the St. Louis blue line, and he has been helped back to the Blues dressing room, favoring his left knee, I believe.
Blues lead 2-0. That goal, Gino Cavallini from Wilson and Oates at 3:50. North Stars break in, though. Here's Tinordi right in front of Johnny. Score! Mark Tinordi, and it's 2-1.
It takes Minnesota but 23 seconds to come back within a goal. Tinordi on a 2-on-1, a defenseman. With the veteran Prop, he elects to shoot. The Blues defenseman Butcher committing himself a bit early. And he bangs it in, stick side off the post. Mark Tinordi gets the goal for Minnesota. And for Tinordi, his 5th of the year, and it's 2-1 St. Louis.
That's a tough goal to give up. Off the draw, the Blues. Butcher. He'll clear it in. Ron Wilson forechecking, gets it free for brind'amour, center. Shot by Bruce goes just wide. Now brind'amour near side. Cuts into the slot. Left point to Paul Cavallini. A shot. That's off a stick. brind'amour centers it. And now play called as the North Star player, Dahlquist, he might have taken that shot on the jaw.
I would say so, because referee Kerry Fraser was in the corner, stopped play immediately, and the Blues had a good scoring chance. So he must have taken it in the jaw. Saying to the trainer he's all right. No problem. Boy, these fellas are tough. Paul Cavallini letting it rip from the left point. The puck changed directions and hit the Minnesota player. Wow. The first goal, Gino Cavallini from Wilson and Oates. Cavallini's 8th at 3:50, and then at 4:13, Tinordi gets his 5th to bring Minnesota back to within 1. Hall scored the only goal in the first period, his 82nd. Well, Minnesota undefeated in their last 13 at home. They're not going to fold up, that's for sure. They've been playing very, very well, and especially here at home. So this is a much tougher hockey team now than earlier in the season.
Face off left of Casey. Oates gets a draw to Hall. A shot and a glove save by Jon Casey on that goal. They are now giving the assist to Neil Broughton along with Mike Craig on the Tinordi goal.
Oates on the face-off, wins it, top of the circle to Hall. He didn't have much room, and a relatively routine save for Jon Casey. Brett Hull, of course, for the 2nd straight season, has scored against every team in the NHL. In 6 games against Minnesota, he had 6 goals. Now in the 7th game, he has his 7th goal. So the North Stars know what Hull is all about.
Oates against Smith on the draw. Blues up 2-1. This time Bobby Smith gets the draw behind the goal for Johnson. In pass for Smith. And then Johnson really creamed by Lowry. Smith across the line, but Gavin was in offside on right wing. 2-1 for the Blues. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
You know, John, we've been saying it's a big crowd. I wonder how many of the folks here are disguised as mannequins. I hope not too many. That's behind the goal, occupied by Vincent Riendeau in this period. Not a bad-looking mannequin as mannequins go.
I won't touch that one. 15-10 to go in the second period. The Blues lead 2-1. Now at center ice, the Blues. Marois gets it. Back for Oates. Can't clear it. Marois in deep. He takes a check. And Brett Hull on right wing fires it back to center. John Chambers there, right wing to Modano. Now for Johnson. Into the zone, but Chambers was offside.
Harold Sneps, boy, he gets him excited, doesn't he, everywhere you go, especially in the buildings in which he has played as a hometown player. Takes out Johnson along the boards and draws some attention. I guess Harold just has that look, that mean look, and they love to boo him, and he loves every minute of it. We were talking the other night, John, will Harold Sneps be back next season? Talking as though he might not be. And of course, last season at this time, he had just come to the Blues and was talking about, well, that's it. This is the last season, the playoffs, and he was coaxed back for another season. And believe me, I don't think it'll be easy for Harold Sneps to hang him up.
Now in his 18th National League season. Over 1,000 games. Blues lead 2-1, 14:35 left. Second period. North Stars get the puck in deep, but it's cleared by Brown on right wing to Sutter. He bumps Glenn. Glenn keeps it in now for Smith. In front, but Brown is there. Up the boards, held in again by Glenn. Near corner. Basil McCray. Four players fight for it. Now to the other side it goes, and Basson for the Blues. He'll flip it ahead. Giles kept it in. Now Mike Craig, cross-checked by Basson. And a penalty called here, I think on Basson. And now Smith and Basson push. The original call, I think, is against Basson for cross-checking Mike Craig.
Well, give Bobby Smith some marks. The 13-season veteran says, look, Mike Craig is just 19 years of age. Quit picking on him. I'm going to protect him a little bit. And Smith, the character player, does as Bob Basson will go off. 14:06 to go, second period. The Blues lead it 2-1. Craig takes a run at Basson in the corner, and you knew that Basson would want to get back at him. So did Kerry Fraser, and boom, a big cross-check. That's when Fraser decided to call the penalty. Basson 2 for cross-checking, but then Bobby Smith later came in, and he gets 2 for unsportsmanlike conduct. So you give Smith some marks for sticking up for his young teammate, Mike Craig, but then it turns out really to not be a very smart play because he gets an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. And the coincidental penalties mean that both teams remain at full strength.
Blues lead 2-1. Oates has assisted on both goals tonight. He had 3 assists in the 3-2 win against the Islanders. He had an assist on the Blues' last goal in Philadelphia, scored by Lowry, so he has now assisted on the last 6 St. Louis goals. Blues up 2-1. Off the draw, the puck behind the Blues net, taken by Brown. And Brown works his way to center ice. Long dump in, ends up far corner. Dahlquist there for Minnesota. Near side to Mark Tinordi. He has the lone North Star goal up to Gavin. Good pass to Broughton. Into the Blues end, left wing for Duchesne. A shot! And that just missed. Rebound put wide by Gavin. Behind the net. Oates is there. Up on right wing. Tinordi kept it in. He's bumped by Oates. Oates to Hall. Gavin held it in. Now the puck fought for near corner. Scott Stevens whips it around the boards to Lowry. And the Blues come back 4-on-3. Led by Brown. To Lowry. In on left wing. Pass in front, and Casey knocked it away. And Bellows on left wing. Good pass to Modano off his stick. Paul Cavallini broke it up. Can't work it ahead, and back is Bellows. In on the left wing, in front, and Modano missed it. Right point, Modano gets it. By Oates, a shot, stick save, Riendeau, and he clears the rebound away. Now Bellows puts it right through the goal crease. Hall on right wing for the Blues. He's back to center ice. Pass for Lowry, chipped ahead, knocked down by the Stars. Oates steals it, and he's got a break on right wing. Here he comes, Oates, fakes the shot, and he lost the puck. Oates centers it, but no one there. And Johnson back for Minnesota. Blues lead 2-1. Johnson at center ice. Into the St. Louis end. Pass in front. Bellows tips it right in front. No one there. Modano on right wing. Back on the point. Fires to the near corner. Butcher for the Blues. Bumped. Bureau knocked down. Puck still in that corner to the right of Riendeau. Butcher gets it for brind'amour. Now ahead to Dan Quinn, who's back on the ice. Here's Quinn. Into brind'amour. Pass to Bruce. A shot. And he just missed the net. Quinn in the rebound. A shot. And a stick saved by Casey. Now Bruce far corner. Gets it to Quinn in deep. Can't center it. And Kurt Giles, the North Stars captain, knocked down by Bruce. Nothing called. And the fans yell about that. Modano shoots it in. 11:35 left in the second period. The Blues lead 2-1. Here's a pass to Quinn on right wing. Comes to center. Over for David Bruce. Into the North Stars zone. Knocked down by Dahlquist. And it's tipped to center by Tinordi. Now Broughton carries into the Blue zone. To Tinordi, a shot. And a body save by Riendeau. And then Broughton. Then Steps come together in front.
Harold Snep's one of those old-time defensemen. The whistle blows and he gives you a little extra shot. And he gave Broughton a little shot there. And, of course, Broughton, a long-time favorite up here in the land of the lakes. Blues lead 2-1. This is St. Louis Blues hockey. Adam Oates had a partial break. Modano couldn't get the puck from Bellows, and Oates comes blazing in on the right wing. He fakes a shot. He has Casey beaten if he could make a move around him. But Adam lost the puck, and Casey was able to clear it to the corner. Shots are even 15 aside. Give Minnesota some credit. They are playing well. You can understand why they've been so successful at home lately.
But the Blues have a 2-1 lead. Here's Kimball in the Blues end on right wing. At center ice to Steps in on left wing for Gino Cavallini. Pass to Ron Wilson. Back on the point. Modano broke it up. He gets it to Smith at center ice. Carries into the St. Louis end. Drop pass to Bellows. A shot. Right on, a save by Riendeau. On a waist-high drive by Bellows.
Well, that was a tough save for Riendeau. And one of the reasons is it appeared that Harold Snep's created a bit of a screen for Riendeau. Bellows is quite a marksman. He ends up getting it from Smith. Now, a bit of a screen by Harold Snep's. There's not much you can do as a defenseman. Harold didn't quite know if he'd go down and try to block it or not. Then that last move by Bellows, Harold couldn't go down. And that, of course, just makes it all the tougher for Vince Riendeau. But he has played well again here tonight. That, of course, is one of the long suits of this Blues organization. Goaltending, and good young goaltending. At the moment, Pat Jablonski is the backup goaltender. Curtis Joseph is home hurt. And, of course, Guy Hebert, a fine prospect, has played at Peoria this season. He has also been hurt. But that's a point of wealth for the Blues, depth in goaltending.
Riendeau just in his 4th year in the NHL. Blues have a 2-1 lead. 10:45 left, second period. Off the draw, Jeff Brown sets it up behind the Blues goal. Far corner for Stevens. Ahead to Bassett. Now for Sutter. He'll golf it in. Blues make a change on the fly. Johnson back far corner for the North Stars. Off the boards, it comes to center, but Stevens slaps it back in there. There's McRae on left wing. Oates there. Try to steal it, he did. But the puck tipped to center. Now grabbed by Smith. Into the Blue zone. Left wing feed for McRae. He was going the other way. And Brown on the right wing side. Gets it by 2 North Stars. That's center ice to Oates. Hit across the line. Oates to Lowry. Right in. A shot. He scores! Dave Lowry, a great goal. Set up by who else? Oates. And it's 3-1.
Lowry picks up his 17th goal. He's looked sensational on the line with the 2 stars, Oates and Hall. Oates was cruising in on the right wing. Anybody who has any sense figures that Oates is going to pass to Hall on his right, even though it's a backhand pass. He gives you that look and then gives it to Lowry. That gives Lowry an extra step. It gives him an extra step on the defenseman. It gives him an extra step on Casey. And then even Lowry was smart enough to look over to Hall. thinking that he might pass back to Brett. Boy, when you've got a Brett Hull with you, it's going to give you an opening or two that you might not see with another winger, and it's 3-1 Blues.
Lowry had 2 goals in Philadelphia and gets his 17th here at 9:57. 3-1 Blues. Now it's cleared in behind the North Star goal. Not shot out, held in. Hull a shot, and it's tipped just wide. Casey clears it around the board. Left point, Paul Cavallini, a high shot wide. Here's Oates on right wing. To Hull a shot, and it's just wide. Pass into Hull. Backhander, and he put that wide. Blues have pressure on here, but now the North Stars come back to center, shoot it down the ice, and as Butcher goes back, icing call. Blues lead 3-1. Let's pause 5 seconds for station ID. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
You're watching Blues hockey on St. Louis 11.
All Gino Cavallini and now Dave Lowry have scored for the Blues. This one at 9:57. Oates again assists. Jeff Brown gets an assist. Oates has assisted on all 3 Blues goals tonight. He has 84 assists in 58 games and now 110 points. What a year from Adam Oates, and what a trade. Engineered with Detroit to get Oates 2 years ago.
Face off right at Casey. The Blues get the puck far corner. Mahar behind the goal to Sutter. He lost it. Puck cleared around the boards. Marois right point. Chops at it. Prop knocked it down. His long pass. It goes to steps at his own line. Checked by Bobby Smith. Smith in on right wing. Forced wide. Now centers it. And Prop tipped it just wide. I think a penalty called on the Blues here as Steps gets the puck. And a tripping call on St. Louis. It's 3-1 Blues. This is short St. Louis Blues hockey.
Marois, 2 minutes for tripping at 11:05. Minnesota 0 for 1 on the power play. The play was created by the fact that Bobby Smith stole the puck and had a burst of speed. And it was in front that Marois, while Smith was handling the puck, made the trip. Now Minnesota with the man advantage, trailing the Blues by 2. 3-1.
Face-off left of Riendeau. North Stars 0 for 1 tonight on the power play. They were 0 for 8 yesterday in Chicago. North Stars get the draw right point. Tinordi. Far side to Bellows. Back on the point for Tinordi. Now on the wing to Madonna. Back to Tinordi. A shot. They score! Bobby Smith might have tipped it in.
Smith and Brian Bellows were there. They're both strong, tough players. Madonna just flips it to Tinordi. Tries a wrist shot. What's the key? Keep it down. Smith tipped it, and the only question would be, did Bellows get a stick on it also? Smith definitely tipped it. And that makes it 3-2. So we'll wait and see who they give credit for the goal to. But the goal comes at 11:17. Smith gets it from Madonna and Tinordi.
So the Blues lead 1 again. Now the North Stars to center. Bureau shoots it in. Riendeau flips it on right wing. Kept in by Bureau, bumped by Butcher. Near corner, Quinn there for the Blues. Here's Quinn to Butcher. Now for Quinn, tips it back to center. Now Paul Cavallini has it. Smith got that goal. The Blues in on right wing. A shot handled there by Casey. And Giles for the North Stars. Lost it. Here's Bruce far corner. Back to Paul Cavallini. A weak shot. That's wide. Rebound. Brind'amour. His shot. And Casey a stick save. And the North Stars. Here they come to center. Glenn in on right wing to Gavin to Glenn in front. Duchesne a shot. And Riendeau a pad save. And the Blues clear it away. Bureau shoots it back into Blues territory. 7:35 to go in the second period. The Blues lead 3-2. Here comes Oates again. In on left wing. Smashed to the boards by Dahlquist. Puck now shot to center. Smale gets it. Into the Blues zone with Broughton. Smale. And he put it too far, and it goes behind the goal. Smale has it again. Spins around back there. Now for Broughton. Paul Cavallini holds him. North Stars dig it free. Here's Broughton on right wing. Back near the line. But Lowry knocked it away. And Lowry at center ice. Tied up. And they hold it against the boards.
Renewed life for Minnesota. They've been down by a pair twice. When the Blues made it 2-0, Minnesota came back to score in 23 seconds. When Lowry made it 3-1, it takes just a minute 20 for Bobby Smith to score. Johnson got it right in front. Duchesne was pretty well covered on the play and really wasn't able to get much of a chance. Meanwhile, back at the other end, Oates got along the boards, which he does all the time, and Dahlquist really threw his shoulder into the chest of Adam Oates. That stopped him rather abruptly. 3-2. The Blues lead it.
Face off at center. Broughton, Prop, and Smale against Paul, Oates, and Lowry. Blues get the face-off, Brown at his own line to Hall. Tip to Oates. He lost it. Here's Broughton on left wing. A shot. And Brown got a stick on that. And it goes 15 rows back here at the Met Center.
The family of Budweiser beers is proud of all the friendships that they've helped make. So when they remind you to know when to say when, it's all in the name of friendship. Ken Wilson, John Kelly, Met Center, Bloomington, Minnesota. 6:46 to go in the second period. The Blues lead the North Stars 3-2. The North Stars will be at the arena for the final game, number 80, this coming Sunday night at 6:05. The Blues finishing with 3 in a row at home. The Islanders Thursday night, the Maple Leafs Saturday night, and Minnesota this coming Sunday night, and then the playoffs will begin at the arena with Game 1 Thursday night, April the 4th.
Blues take over in their own zone. Stevens on the far side for Ron Wilson. Off the boards at center, Gino Cavallini there. Tied up, loose puck, grabbed by Stevens. Into the North Star zone. Stevens in the slot. Kimball can't find it. And the puck squirts back to center. Scott Stevens into Gino Cavallini, left winger Ron Wilson. But he lost the puck to Bobby Smith. And Smith plays it back to center. Brown at his own line for the Blues. Blues ahead 3-2. Brown now for Wilson. Back to Brown in his own end at center ice for Kimball. He missed it. Now it's grabbed by McRae. Back at his own line for Chambers. Chambers through center. Poked away, and Ron Wilson gets it. Into Gino Cavallini, has room. And that shot is blocked, and it goes wide. Puck loose on left wing. Shot by Smith back to center. Marois there. He'll hammer it right back in. And the North Stars. Sean Chambers in his own zone. Now at center ice to Johnson, the former Penguin, now behind the play. McRae and Darren Kimball square off. McRae lands it right now. Kimball back. And McRae falls down. Not much of a fight there between McRae and Kimball.
Kimball, coming out of the Minnesota zone, gave McRae a little bump, nothing serious, but he got McRae's attention, and they looked at each other and looked and said, "Do you want to go?" And finally McRae threw the gloves down, and that was all Kimball needed. And they talk a little, and they'll go to the penalty box. 3-2, Blues over the North Stars. This is St. Louis Blues hockey. Roughing Miners to Kimball of the Blues, McRae of the North Stars at 14:25, coincidental penalties. I always wonder what they're talking about. They get done fighting and they're talking to each other all the time. Almost all the players do that. I asked Brian Sutter what he used to talk about after a fight when he was still near the players. He said, "I never talked." He said, "All I cared about was not getting hurt, and if anybody got hurt, I wanted to make sure it was the other guy."
And it usually was, as far as Brian was concerned. Blues lead 3-2. Here's Bassett on right wing, gets it across the North Stars line, and look out there, Glynn knocks him flying. Some hard checks in this game. Now Bassett far corner in the North Stars end. Misses a check there. Now Mahar there to help out. Mahar back on the point to Marois. A shot! That's just high. Sutter gets the rebound behind the goal. Rick Sutter walks in front. Shoots one. and that was blocked before it got to Casey. And Bellows back the other way. Miroir back. Bellows across the line, and his wrist shot is just wide. And Mario Miroir shoots it ahead, and Bassin tips it off the boards and down the ice. Less than 5 minutes to play in the second period. The Blues lead 3-2. North Stars play a long pass. That goes down the ice. And as Paul Cavallini goes back, icing called here on the North Stars.
Well, Rich Sutter had a pretty good chance there a few moments ago coming out of the corner. Mike Modano again going after that last puck, showing his fabulous speed. Rich Sutter tried to defy physics, I guess you would call it, maybe some geometry. He'll come from behind the net, makes a very good play to spin away from his check, but then he's got 8 legs to shoot the puck through before it gets to Jon Casey. And the piece of rubber just didn't want to make it. Meanwhile, Bassin really took a big hit a few minutes earlier from defenseman Brian Glenn. And believe me, he'll see Mr. Glenn again before the night's out.
And Glenn will see Bassin. Now the Blues attacking here. Bruce, a quick shot. And a save by Casey. And he flops down and holds on. You know, David Bruce has not scored a goal since coming back up from Peoria. But one thing I've noticed about him, Ken, and he had 64 goals in the minors, he gets his shot away very quickly in traffic.
Yeah, that's the key. One of the big keys, of course, if you're going to score. He had some experience with Vancouver in the NHL prior to this stint with the Blues.
Blues lead 3-2. Butcher right point, kept it in. Not for long. Now Dan Quinn at center ice. His long shot. That's wide. Puck loose, left point. Paul Cavallini is there. His shot is blocked. The North Stars to center. 2-on-2. Duchesne into the blue zone. Drop pass for Chambers. On left wing. A shot. Pass saved by Riendeau. And Brind'amour clears the rebound to center. Johnson at his own line. Right wing for Bureau. Tipped in by Chambers. Now Riendeau behind that net. Pass to the far corner, knocked down by Chambers. Butcher comes in. He knocks a couple of men off the puck. Bruce can't clear. Duchesne right point. Tied up by Bruce. Here's Duchesne on right wing. Works in behind the Blues goal. Now a backhand flip pass in front, knocked away. And David Bruce feeds Brind'amour at the red line. Now for Paul Cavallini ahead to Quinn into the North Star zone. His drop pass broken up by the Stars, and here is Propp to center for Chambers. Back to Propp, trying to cut in, and a shot, a weak one, and it goes to the corner. Now Propp behind the goal. Camp center. Butcher flips it near the line. Held in by Tinordi, left point. Right point. Goal with the drive, and that's wide. Smale on right wing. Behind the goal for Propp. He was held up, and Brind'amour backhands it down the ice. Less than 3 minutes to go in the second period. The Blues lead 3-2. North Stars try a pass. That's too far. And Brown back. Icing called on Minnesota.
McDonald's restaurants of St. Louis and Metro East are proud sponsors of the St. Louis Blues. Good action here tonight at the Met Center. Both periods have been very spirited. A lot of good play, a lot of good hits, good scoring chances. Blues outshot 19-18, but they lead the North Stars 3-2. Chambers from the corner sends the puck in front. Riendeau moments ago kicking the puck out, and Riendeau, after making the save, watching Brind'amour clear the puck away. A good hockey game between the Blues and the North Stars, and Oates has assisted on all 3 Blues goals. Hall has his 82nd goal of the night, of the season, I should say, tonight.
Blues get the draw. Here's Jeff Brown, right point, a shot, and a pad saved by Casey. Puck cleared near the line. Now to center for Smith. Into the blue zone with Propp. Smith backhander. Save Riendeau with his pad, and back is Oates the other way. 2-on-2. Oates and Hall. Oates can't work in, and then he's knocked flying by Dahlquist. And here are the North Stars. Bobby Smith in on right wing. Knocked down by Brown. Smale can't center it. And Oates for the Blues. He gets the center for Hull. Hull into the North Star zone. In traffic, lost it. Brown right point. Fires it behind the goal. Far corner, Oates is there. Now to Brett Hull on left wing. Back on the point for Stevens. Lets it go right on rebound. Oates. His shot just wide as he had the rebound. Here's Smale for the North Stars to center. Down the right wing side. Bumped by Stevens. Tinordi carries on. He fell down. He's bumped by Brown in behind the goal. Now Stevens gets it for the Blues. Pass to Lowry. And look out, he was really bumped by Bureau. Now the North Stars, Craig back in around Brown. Craig, and Riendeau, a 6-day rebound. Another chance for Craig. That's blocked by Riendeau as well. And the Blues get the puck. And a hooking call now on St. Louis.
Minnesota is starting to hammer the Blues physically a little bit here the last few minutes. And the Blues trying to retaliate a little bit and not let it go unanswered. Mike Craig, a very good move, and look at the sweep check by Riendeau. That big goalie stick can be quite a weapon. And Riendeau that time used it perfectly. But a penalty on the play against the Blues, Jeff Brown. Boy, and Riendeau got back because Bellows came blasting through, and he had a very good opportunity on the rebound. At the other end, Oates was hit. Boy, when you get hit when you're away from the boards, it oftentimes stings a little more. He really caught it on his tailbone. Then at the other end, Bureau and Lowry. Lowry was a little dazed by it. So the Blues have been getting knocked around a bit here. They're not going to take that for long.
North Stars 1 for 2 in the power play, down 3-2. Get the draw right point. Tinordi a shot. Rebound in front and cleared away by Mahar. As that puck played tantalizing in front for a long time. Now Tinordi at his own line for Smith. A minute left in the period. Smith behind his own goal. Now to Neil Broughton, North Stars all-time leading scorer. At center for Smith. Flips it in. Madonna hooked down. Penalty called on the Blues. And Mahar will go off.
He almost got the idea the crowd helped Kerry Fraser call it. He wasn't going to call it, it didn't look like. And then he crowd roared, and then he called it. Of course, that's trying to read his mind, and that's a difficult task. Mahar not happy at all. Blues 2 men short. The good news here is that there are 46 seconds left in the period. So any sustained momentum that Minnesota might be able to create here could be halted by the end of the period. 1:27 to go in the Brown penalty. Now Mahar a 2-minute penalty for hooking. And the Blues will have only 3 skaters in front of Vince Riendeau.
North Stars a 2-man advantage. They trail by 3-2. Smith, Prop and Bellows up front. Face off Bassett and Smith. Smith gets it back on the point. Madonna, right wing side to Prop. Back for Madonna. Now to Broughton on the left point. He works in near side to Bellows. In front, Stevens blocked it. And Stevens in the corner. He's tripped up. In front, Prop takes, he scores! Ryan Prop ties the game.
Ryan Prop, in his 12th NHL season, played with Philadelphia for years, with Boston last year. Bellows centers. Riendeau wants to cover the puck, but Stevens plays it. And when Bellows knocks him down and Paul Cavallini's in the corner, one man in front, Basson, and before Basson can reach Prop, Prop has backhanded it in. And the 31-year-old ties it at 3 for Prop, goal number 24 at 19:31 of the second period. And now Brown is back out.
Blues 1 man short. 30 seconds left in the period. North Stars. Smith across the line, picked up by Tinordi on the right wing side. Clears it behind the goal. Stevens is there. Can't clear. Here's Tinordi, a shot. That's tipped away in front. And the Blues clear it down the ice. 7 seconds left in the period. And this should about do it. The Blues keep it in, though. Scott Stevens, a shot! And that was just wide. Nearly a short-handed goal. And now the period comes to an end. So the Blues at one time led 3-1, but a pair of power play goals has tied the game. It's 3-3 after 2. Coming up, we'll talk to Blues defenseman Jeff Brown. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Welcome back to the Met Center, where the Blues and the North Stars are tied at 3 after 2 periods. Ken Wilson along with Jon Kelly. We're hoping to visit with veteran Blues defenseman Jeff Brown. He has gone into the Blues locker room, and Brian Sutter's words are Jeff will be out, but I want to talk to everybody first. And I guess that doesn't surprise the two of us, does it, John?
No, not really. We were scheduled to have Jeff in Chicago the other night, and they had the big brawl. And late in this second period, the Blues with a 3-1 lead, but gave up a couple of power play goals. So I'm sure that Brian Sutter is a bit upset right now.
Yeah, he wants to talk to his team and get things straightened out. And hopefully Jeff will be able to join us. And if not, you and I are going to combine for some brilliance here. Jeff Brown is back, and I guess the obvious thing, we'll talk to him here, the obvious thing to want to know is what was said in the dressing room, and why don't you visit with Jeff Brown here?
All right, Jeff, you're all set to go down there. What did Brian have to say in that short meeting?
Well, he's a little upset with us. I think we the last 2 goals we more or less gave it to them. We are playing Blues hockey defensively. We got to concentrate on defense to win in this game, and we haven't been doing that the last 10 minutes of that period. And I think we're gonna have to regroup in the third period and play a tight defensive game, and we'll get our chances offensively.
Jeff, it seemed after the Blues took a 3-1 lead, the North Stars got some momentum and forced you people to take some penalties. What did Minnesota change after they got down by 2, if anything?
I don't know. It's tough to say. I think you know, when we get up 2, we gotta tighten up. I think we let them take the play to us. We gotta continue going after them. I don't think we can sit back and let them take the play to us. I think it's every time we got the 2-goal lead, we let them back in the game, and you know, hopefully we can get the lead early in the third period and hold on.
The Blues have been a good team this year when tied after 2 periods, but you would think that the North Stars would have some momentum right now, or is that not the case?
Well, Minnesota's playing pretty good hockey right now. I don't think they've lost in the last 13 at home, and they're a team to be reckoned with, especially coming up into the playoffs, and we're going to have to play a heck of a third period for us to be successful in this building.
Jeff, how is the ankle right now? I know you missed 13 games earlier.
It's at times it hurts a bit, but I think it's almost back to 100%, and it feels good. And I'm sure come playoff time, everything will be back to 100%.
I saw in that second period you took a shot right on the ankle. Was it the same spot?
Actually, it was a little above the ankle. I got a big dent in my shin pad from it. That Modano can shoot the puck, I guess.
Jeff, you ready for the playoffs? It looks like it's going to be Detroit.
Well, it looks that way. I think we have to concentrate on winning ourselves, and we haven't given up on first place, but I think it's important for us not to worry about it, to play good hockey and sound hockey going into the playoffs, and getting ready and getting our game in A1 condition before we take on whether it's Detroit or Minnesota.
Well, good luck in the third period, Jeff. Thank you for dropping by.
Thanks very much, John.
Jeff Brown, our guest. The Blues and Stars tied at 3 after 2. Let's go back to Ken Wilson.
All right, Jon Kelly, we're appreciative of the appearance by Jeff Brown. Thanks to Jeff and to Coach Brian Sutter. Here at the Met Center, the Blues and the North Stars tied at 3. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
3-3 after 2 periods of play here at the Met Center in Bloomington, Minnesota. Both clubs are back on the ice. We're nearly set to go. But first, let's pause 15 seconds for station identification. This is St. Louis Blues hockey. Tomorrow at 7 on St. Louis 11, don't miss the shocking story of a Playboy pinup controlled by her sordid husband. Mariel Hemingway stars in Star 80. It's the Blues and North Stars ready for the third period. I mentioned earlier the Blues will be short-handed to begin the period. Mahar has 1:14 left in his hooking minor. When tied after 2, the Blues record 8-2-4. When the North Stars are tied after 2, their mark 3 wins, 8 losses, and 6 ties. Set to go with the third period, and here to tell you about it, Ken Wilson.
And 2 veterans face off. Wilson for the Blues, Smith for the North Stars, and the North Stars control the puck. At the North Stars line, here's Modano. He wears number 9, zigzagging through center ice, carrying into the Blues zone. Left side, gives it to Bellows. Back to the blue line, Modano in front. And a scramble, loose puck. Smith a shot, they score! The North Stars score. Tinordi rams a couple of players after the goal. He had an opportunity in the scramble, and it's finally knocked in. And Minnesota gets the power play goal to take the lead 4-3. They have scored 3 consecutive power play goals.
Well, Riendeau thought he had it covered. It comes back to Modano, feeds Tinordi. He was stopped, and then Smith bangs away at the rebound. And the puck was knocked in by Bellows, I believe, on the far side. So 3 power play goals in a row. And the North Stars take a 4-3 lead. I think Bellows at the edge of the goal crease tipped it in. And if he did, it'll be his 33rd of the year. And then Tinordi became involved after that goal. So the Blues penalty killing has given up 3 power play goals in a row. And the Stars go ahead, pardon me, on Bellows' 33rd.
Did we mention that the Blues this season on the road have the best power play? They do, but this is penalty killing. And it's a story that the Blues would like to forget tonight because their penalty killing has been strong all year long. Here they come again. Duchesne a shot after the Bellows goal. Riendeau kicks that out. Now Oates to center ice. To Lowry. He'll poke the puck in, and Tinordi is back for it. Just 20 seconds in, Minnesota gets a power play goal. Tinordi and Modano assisting. Bellows 33rd. A pass from Broughton is knocked away, and the Blues have the puck in their own end. Stevens gets it to Brown. Now a pass for Basson at the red line. He's hooked a bit by Gavin, run into by Johnson, and the puck loose out at center ice. Brown, a pass off Sutter's stick. Chambers clears it to an open left wing, and back in his own end is Brown. Blues are changing. 1:10 gone. Third period. 4-3 Minnesota. Brown to Butcher. At center ice, the puck hops over the stick of Basson and propped for Minnesota. A pass off the skate of Bureau. Brown back for the puck. Plays it around the far right wing. Prop ties up Rich Sutter. Rich Sutter forces it to center ice. He's tripped, no call. Johnson for Minnesota to Bureau. He'll dump it into the corner. Prop and Butcher after it. Butcher plays it ahead to Sutter. He's tied up. Now a battle for the puck deep in the Blues zone. Butcher checks Craig. And a shot by Bureau turned aside by Riendeau. And the Blues clear at the length of the ice right on goal. Minnesota prop shooting it in from the neutral zone. The two clubs changing. Here's Paul Cavallini in front of his net. Over to Butcher. He gives it to brind'amour. He avoids a check from McRae. brind'amour at the blue line. A shot over Casey in the Minnesota net. Puck is centered. And the Blues get it at the point. Paul Cavallini backhands it behind the Minnesota net to brind'amour. brind'amour along the near side. Trying to move in front. Can't. Now Paul Cavallini at the point. Ahead to David Bruce. Back to the right point. Marois. Wrist shot and a stick save by Casey. As the Blues put some pressure on. Now McRae sends the puck all the way into the Blues zone. First man back for it, Doug Smale. Smale of Minnesota can't center. It hits Marois. And the puck knocked ahead to brind'amour. He'll give it to Bruce. Back to brind'amour. He tries to go around Tinordi over the line. He's hit. Knocked to the boards. Quinn taken out by Broughton. Loose puck for Lowry in the corner. He's knocked away from the puck by Tinordi. And Tinordi gets the puck for Minnesota. Coming up on the 3-minute mark, third period, Tinordi through center ice just flips the puck in. Both clubs are changing. Blues are trailing at 4-3. They led at 1 point, 3-1. Mario Marois on his own end. Long pass for Hull at center ice. Well covered by Johnson. The puck to Casey. He sweeps it to center ice to Modano onside. Over the line. Centers, and Lowry back checking, intercepts. Lowry for St. Louis behind his net. Dave Lowry trying to get out of his own end. Stopped by Bellows, but Stevens covers up. Over to Brown, back to Stevens with Lowry, Hull, and Oates. From the red line, Stevens shoots the puck in, and it deflects to Johnson. Johnson a pass at center ice. Knocked away, and the Blues control. Gino Cavallini feeds it off the skate of Hall. He's after the puck, but Chambers beats him to it in front of the North Stars net. And the North Stars come to the neutral zone. Here's Bellows, who broke the tie. Ahead to Modano. A big blast. Kicked out by Riendeau. He stops Modano. The puck ends up behind the Blues net. Stevens has it. Less than 16 minutes to go in the third. The Blues trail 4-3. Dino Cavallini's pass for Oates broken up. The puck at center ice. Bureau gets it for the North Stars. And Bureau shoots the puck in. Gavin tries to knock it in front. It's blocked into the corner. Gaetan Duchesne. Right point to Giles. A shot hits Oates. Hall gets the puck ahead for Oates. Trying for a breakaway. It's knocked away. Then Oates gives it to Hall. He'll just chop it into the corner. Behind the net, Giles for Minnesota to Duchesne in the corner. He's slowed up, hooked a bit by Oates. Then Bureau's bump at the right point. Butcher to Hall in the slot. He shoots and scores! Brad Hall set up beautifully by Garth Butcher. And that's a pair again tonight for Hall. This one is number 83. And it ties it at 4.
Well, Hall from the slot. He gets it away so quickly, and the North Star player going down to try and block it, Giles, may have screened Casey. Butcher, a good pass and a quick snapshot right through the legs of Casey. Hall was on the ice for a good 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes. But he certainly is in great shape. He oftentimes takes 2.5 or 3-minute shifts. And a long shift pays off there in the tying goal.
From the center ice face-off, Paul Cavallini drills the puck in. Tinordi avoids a check from Kimball, shoves Kimball. They may go at it. Blues have the puck. Wilson left point. Paul Cavallini a shot blocked by Dahlquist. Meanwhile, Tinordi and Kimball behind the play talking with each other. Now Craig moves into the blue zone. Craig for Minnesota behind the net. Attempts to center. The puck deflects to the far boards. Broughton tied up by Butcher, who kicks the puck to Kimball. At center ice to Lowry. He'll drive it in right on off the blocker of Jon Casey. Blues and North Stars look to change as Chris Dahlquist starts out for Minnesota. Dahlquist ahead to Craig. Partial break, but Sneps comes back to knock him down. Sneps ahead to Mahar. He's poke check. Puck at the St. Louis line. Craig shoots it back in for Minnesota. Blues and North Stars tied at 4. They've already played a pair of ties this season. Blues get it out of their own end. Johnson shoots it back in, and Marois will go back for it. Marois and Sneps. Kimball, Mahar, and Bassett on for Brian Sutter. Sneps takes a pass from Marois. Sneps slowly out of his own end. Sneps along the near boards to the red line, shoots the puck in. Casey leaves it for Jim Johnson. He clears it around the far side to Bellows. He circles back. 6 minutes have been played in the third period. Right wing to Modano. Up to Smith, across the ice for Johnson at the red line. Here's Jim Johnson winding up. A shot goes just wide. Sneps tips the puck to center ice. Bobby Smith has it. He has a goal tonight. Over to Modano. He can't get around Marois, and the puck goes to the Minnesota defense. Sean Chambers across to Brian Glenn. Everybody changing. Glenn over the line. Fans on a pass. And the puck ends up in the corner. Stevens runs into Glenn. Brown for the Blues behind his net, can't clear, and McRae a low drive just wide. David Bruce gets it at his own line. His pass ahead, broken up, and the North Stars, Glenn shoots it in again. Riendeau knocks it away to Scott Stevens. He feeds ahead to Dan Quinn. Right wing to brind'amour with Bruce over the line. Drop pass for Bruce. He winds up, and that allows Dahlquist to block the shot. Quinn and Broughton tie each other up. Dahlquist falls down. Here's brind'amour, a wrist shot that deflects over the Minnesota net. 4-4 the score. The puck in the North Star zone. They can't clear. Stevens keeps it in at the left point. Sidesteps Smale. Then a Stevens pass is blocked. Loose puck. And it's covered by the North Stars player who slides against the boards. And that will stop play with 12:45 remaining in the third period. It's 4-4. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Hall has tied the game, his 83rd of the year, from Butcher and Gino Cavallini at 440. You know, in comparing Hall's 83 goals to the 92 Gretzky scored in 81-82, that year Gretzky had 68 even-strength goals. Hall has 55 this year. Gretzky had 18 on the power play. Brett has 28. Gretzky had 6 shorthanded goals this year and 4 empty net goals, and Brett had neither a shorthanded goal nor an empty net goal this year. Gretzky also had a penalty shot goal that year.
Well, the North Stars, when they allow more than 4 goals, are 3-30-2. The Blues are hoping they'll be 3-31-2 in the not-too-distant future. The North Stars, 13 straight games undefeated at home. They've won 5 in a row at home. Now the puck from the Minnesota line deflects all the way into the Blues zone. Riendeau out. Gavin gets it. The puck comes in front. And as Riendeau slides back, the Blues clear to the corner. Oh, that was a bad situation. Paul Cavallini clears to center ice. Tinordi whips it right back in. Riendeau vacating the crease, leaves the puck behind the net for Paul Cavallini. On with Butcher, who accepts the pass in the corner. Oates, Lowry, and Hull up front. Now to Paul Cavallini, on to Butcher, who comes to center ice with it. At the red line, he'll shoot it in. Casey knocks the puck down behind the Stars net with 12:10 to go. Third period, up to Broughton at center ice for Gavin, intercepted. Oates will circle in the neutral zone. Ahead to Hall over the line, but it's offside. 4-4 the score. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
4-4 the score, 12:01 to play. By the way, we'd like to thank Jeff Brown for being our guest. He receives a gift from Deerdorf and Hart Steakhouse, the choice of St. Louis. And Jeff will enjoy a nice steak from Deerdorf and Hart Steakhouse.
Can we mention our friends at Hamilton Jewelers, 715 Locust, downtown, the Diamond and Watch Shop?
We'll give Jeff a certificate from there as well.
Now, they're good people, all of them. The folks at Deerdorf and Harts and the folks at Hamilton Jewelers. At center ice, Eitan Duchesne for Minnesota. He shoots the puck in wide of the net. Riendeau clears it, but play is stopped by Kerry Fraser. I believe there was a... Well, we're going to wait and see. He may be calling some penalties here. Gavin was mixing it up with Marois, and they will both go off. That other game tonight, last report we had Hartford and Montreal, we had it 2-2 in overtime.
There as well.
Now, they're good people, all of them. The folks at Deerdorf and Harts and the folks at Hamilton Jewelers. At center ice, Eitan Duchesne for Minnesota. He shoots the puck in wide of the net. Riendeau clears it, but play is stopped by Kerry Fraser. I believe there was a... Well, we're going to wait and see. He may be calling some penalties here. Gavin was mixing it up with Marois, and they will both go off. That other game tonight, last report we had Hartford and Montreal, we had it 2-2 in overtime. No later score, but it was 2-2 in overtime.
Scoring for Montreal, Richer and Carbonneau, Holik and Cullen with the Hartford goals. Gavin off with Marois here at 8:17. One of the big differences in tonight's game, the North Stars power play. They were 0 of 8 yesterday in Chicago, but tonight they're 3 of 4. The Blues have not had a single power play opportunity in the game. As Marois and Gavin get slashing minors here at 8:17.
Face off in the Blues end. Basson carries the puck to center ice and shoots it in. First man into the corner will be Sutter. Sutter centers, and Giles tips it behind his net. Ryan Kropp with a puck. Coincidental minor penalties to Craig, left wing to Bureau. He puts on the brakes and the puck knocked away. And the Blues player knocked down Mahar, and there'll be a penalty. There'll be a penalty here, and the Blues will finally get a power play when they really need it. Tied at 4 here in the third period. 11:19 to go in regulation time. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Mike Craig gets the North Stars in a short-handed situation as he hooks down Mahar here at 8:41. The Blues power play, as Ken mentioned, the best on the road in the NHL at 21.8%. Overall, the Blues just under 21%. The North Stars penalty killing 13th in the league, right at 80%. So the Blues, with a power play goal here, could take the lead again.
Blues did get a goal while a delay penalty was coming up earlier against Minnesota, and they had sent Riendeau to the bench, had an extra attacker, and scored before Minnesota touched the puck. But this is the first true power play, and the Blues could use a goal. It's tied at 4. Oates behind his net. Right side. Brown. He'll golf it in wide of the net. Brind'amour along the boards. Overskates the puck. Broughton gets it. Can't clear. Hall knocks it down. It's loose in the slot, and Mark Tinordi comes up with it for Minnesota and shoots at the length of the ice. Tinordi, Broughton, Smale, and Tinordi, Dahlquist, Broughton, and Smale on for Minnesota. Blues, Oates at his own line. Near side to Brown. He'll shoot it in again. Brown behind the net, out the far side to Hall. He taps it into the corner for Brind'amour. Brind'amour back to the right point. Oates over to the left point to Brown. Back to Oates. Far side for Quinn. He'll shoot right on the rebound. Brind'amour scores. Rod Brind'amour on a rebound shot. And the power play goal gives the Blues a 5-4 lead. Oh, and that power play, John, has looked good lately.
Well, the Blues got 2 power play goals against the Islanders. Brind'amour gets a rebound here and just jams it in, his 17th of the year. With Dan Quinn in the hockey club, the Blues have so many more options because Quinn can shoot the puck. He did so there, and Brind'amour, who's very strong in front, holds his ground and knocks it in at 9:32. So the Blues go back on top, 5-4. A nice goal by the Blues. Rod Brind'amour. That's his 17th of the year, 4th on the power play.
The Blues have never trailed in this game. They fired in from the faceoff. Now along the boards, Minnesota. Madonna slowed up. Johnson covers up, circles in the corner. Blues do some good forechecking. Up to Bellows, he clears it out. Paul Cavallini shoots the puck right back in. 10:05 to go, third period, 5-4 Blues. Blues forechecking well again. Bellows sweeps it ahead to Smith. He'll have to circle back. Mahar's all over him. Now to Sean Chambers, the lumbering defenseman, through center ice. Over the line, right wing to Bobby Smith, into the corner. Centers, and the Blues, Rich Sutter intercepts. Ahead for Mahar off his skate, and Sean Chambers tries to shoot the puck in and can't. Now on the far boards, a fight for the puck. Bobby Smith gets it, and oh, what a check he receives from Paul Cavallini. Here is David Bruce up the left wing. Bruce into the Minnesota zone. A wrist shot. That goes wide as Johnson and Chambers take him down. Bellows deep in his own end lifts the puck to center ice. It bounds down at the St. Louis line to Jeff Brown. Ahead it comes. Over the line, Brind'amour, and a quick shot caught by Casey. Brind'amour from Quinn and Brown, a power play goal at 9:32 to break the tie. Back the other way, Basil McRae, long shot, saved by Riendeau. Brown takes McRae down. Behind the net, Smale steals centers. Here's Buckner's shot, oh, kicked out by Riendeau. Smale centers again. Quinn clears by Giles all the way back into the Minnesota zone. Brian Glenn back for it. 5-4 Blues, 8:50 to go here at the Met Center in Bloomington, Minnesota. The pass to Broughton at center ice to McRae. Smale the other forward. Minnesota changing. McRae to the corner. His shot hits Scott Stevens. Oates flings the puck around the far side to Brind'amour, who's broken the tie. Now to Oates. 3-on-2. Left wing to Lowry over the line. Slot to Brind'amour. And 2 North Stars go down and block the play. And it's cleared out by the Stars. Dahlquist and Tinordi went down. Fortunately for them, they got the puck. Blues at center ice. Adam Oates backhands it to the Minnesota line where Smale ends up with it. Along the boards to Dahlquist. Up to Mark Bureau. He just hands it to Garth Butcher. Garth Butcher playing the puck ahead to Hall over the line. He's got 2 tonight. He can't get around Tinordi. Back to Butcher. He'll play it ahead to Hall. His pass across the rink is intercepted by Craig. Then Hull knocks it away, and here's Tinordi right in front of his own goal. Giving the puck to Dahlquist into the corner. He hands it behind the net to Oates, who tries to center and can't. Gets it back. Oates moves into the slot on his backhand. He's checked. And the North Stars, Mike Craig takes over. Up to Mark Bureau at center ice. Slowed up is Kropp. And there's 7:33 to go as the North Stars circle back in their own end. Hull scored to tie it at 4:40. Brind'amour at 9:32, a goal to give the Blues the lead. North Stars clear the puck out, and Butcher shoots it in. Well, the Blues can forecheck with the best of them. They can really stymie a team at this point in the game when they have a lead. The center ice, Craig. Now on to Bobby Smith. 3 Blues back. Smith curls to the point. In the slot. Great pass. McRae moves it along. He shoots. And a terrific save by Riendeau on McRae. Here come the Blues. Scott Stevens sidesteps a check. Blazes through center ice. Goes over the line. Puts on the brakes. And then a pass out of the reach of Kimball. Chambers back for Minnesota behind his net. 6:48 to go. 5-4 Blues. Left wing to McRae, who just had a terrific chance. He's checked. He wants to fight Kimball. Drops his gloves. Takes a swing at Kimball. And then Kimball will go the other way. Play continues at center ice. Brown, he'll backhand the puck in. Brian Sutter on the bench screaming, why isn't there a penalty? McRae drops his glove and his stick, takes a swing at Kimball. You don't stop play. Then, slowed up is Glenn. Blues clear the puck into the Minnesota end. Backcourt, Modano. 6:15 to go. Modano leaves the puck behind his net. Bellows dangerously in front of the goal. Back to Modano on a give and go. He can motor. Modano over the line. Fans on a shot attempt. And the puck's cleared out by Butcher. At center ice, Rich Sutter. He fires it in, and Casey stops the puck behind the Minnesota net. Leaves it for Dahlquist. He's hit, and Glenn covers up. Blues lead at 5-4. Stars can't clear it out. Butcher chops it wide of the Minnesota net. It's poked by Modano to the open near side, and here's Bellows. 5:45 to go. Bellows checked by Basson. North Stars shoot the puck in. Butcher quickly out to Rich Sutter. Sutter over the line. Feeds into the middle, and Craig intercepts. To Kopp. Now to Modano over the line. A shot high and wide. Boy, Modano has played quite a game. Kopp is checked, and the Blues break out. One man back, Paul Cavallini. Paul Cavallini slowed up. Knocked down by Sean Chambers. But the North Stars can't get it out initially, and finally Modano diving slaps it out. Shot right back in by brind'amour, a looping shot, gloved by Casey. 5:12 to go. Non-stop action. Craig has the puck knocked away, but Tinordi covers up and breaks the center ice. 4-on-3. Tinordi over the line, cuts to the left wing in the corner. Tries to center, and the puck deflects over the net to the near side. Sutter can't make a play. Craig slowed up by Stevens. Craig centers right off the stick of goalie Vince Riendeau. Far side, brind'amour, and he'll flip the puck into the crowd to stop play with 4:49 to go in the third. The Blues lead the North Stars 5-4. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Blues lead 5-4. Blues coach Brian Sutter was quite upset when McRae wanted to fight Kimball. He dropped the gloves, pushed Kimball, and then Kimball had some nice restraint there, but it didn't do a lot of good as Kerry Fraser would not call anything. Don't forget the Blues cruise is coming up this summer. Curtis Joseph, Rick Mahar, Jeff Brown will be on board. You could too by calling Cardinal Travel at 895-1010 or out of state 1-800-325-4133.
The North Stars don't look like they're done yet, but the Blues have been putting a blanket over them for the most part. Stars get the puck from the face-off in the Blues zone. Modano in front to Bellows. He gets it caught up in his skates. Now Bellows sets up in the corner. Both teams at full strength. Bellows attempts to center and can't. Wrestled down by Lowry. Stevens breaks out ahead to Hall. He's knocked down and just tips the puck in. 4.5 minutes to go in the third. 5-4 Blues. Hall has a pair, numbers 82 and 83. At center ice, Stevens breaks up the North Stars attack. Back to Brown, up to Oates in the neutral zone along the far boards. He just gives the puck away, and he takes quite a hit. Here is Modano. His pass intercepted by Stevens. Ahead for Oates at center ice. Adam Oates now to Lowry over the line. A shot blocked by Dahlquist. And he will not get up immediately. Here's Bellows on the far wing. Dahlquist will limp to the Minnesota bench. Bellows can't do anything with the puck. And here's Scott Stevens. Both clubs are changing. Ahead on the right side to Merwan. The veteran defenseman just shoots the puck in. 3:48 to go. Tinordi for Minnesota. Gets it up on the far side, and Propp is stopped there. Mahar bounces the puck in. At the defense for Minnesota, Sean Chambers. Over to Tinordi. Left wing to Propp. On with Broughton and Craig. Bassett gets in the way, slows up play. Sneps can't move in, and here's Tinordi circling out at center ice for Minnesota. He hands it to Marois, who's hassled by Broughton. Play is rather ragged, and I think the Blues are creating it primarily by really slowing up Minnesota at center ice. Blues dump it in, and they're changing. Here's Minnesota again. Sean Chambers to the red line. Ahead to Glenn. He can't do anything, and then David Bruce gets the puck and clears it out. Sean Chambers pass knocked down by Quinn. Dan Quinn at the St. Louis line. Flips the puck to the Minnesota defense. Big Brian Glenn. His pass knocked down by brind'amour. Ahead to Quinn. One man back, Johnson. Quinn over the line. Drops it for brind'amour. He spins around. Bureau in front of Bruce. A shot, and Casey stops that. Oh, what a great play by brind'amour. It's centered. Bruce can't get a shot. Now centered again. The puck goes to the boards. McRae steps into Quinn. And Mark Bureau breaks out with a pass to Doug Smale. He's stood up by Garth Butcher. The puck shot in, and brind'amour rides his man down. Bureau. Paul Cavallini avoids a check from McRae. Quinn shoots the puck out. And there's 2:20 left in the third period. Minnesota starts back. They trail at 5-4. McRae carries it in, but Bureau is offside. 2:15 to go. 5-4 St. Louis. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Blues lead 5-4. The go-ahead goal by Brind'amour is 17th from Quinn and Brown on the power play at 9:32. Other Blues fans here tonight, Mike and Matt Lucas, along with Eric Goschlick, Kevin Conroy, and Susan Zukowski also here tonight.
Neutral face-off outside the St. Louis line. Bellows can't go anywhere, and Oates backhands the puck deep into the Minnesota end. 2:05 remaining. 5-4 Blues. Hull has a pair. Gino Cavallini, Dave Lowry, and Rod Brind'amour have also scored. Lowry intercepts. He's got Oates in front. The pass to Oates. He's stopped. Rebound. And Casey is on top of the puck. Oh, what a chance Adam Oates had. Oates bidding for his 26th and an insurance goal. That stops play with 1:51 to go. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Tell you what, Dave Lowry has looked right at home on left wing with Oates and Hull. He stole the puck center to Oates, and Casey made a save to rob Oates at the edge of the goal crease, and that kept the North Stars in the game. But the face-off deep in the Stars end, the Blues up 5-4.
Face-off in the Minnesota end. Time a big factor for Minnesota. They'll backhand the puck out. Paul Cavallini shoots it back in. Boy, the Blues can play some terrific defense when they get a one-goal lead. Here's Minnesota again, stopped this time by Hull. Hull is on with Lowry and Oates, Paul Cavallini and Butcher. Puck stolen, moving in. Hull! He's checked by a sliding Jim Johnson. And the North Stars shoot the puck off a Blues player right to Riendeau. 1:20 to go. Blues lead at 5-4. They've outshot the Stars 32-30. At center ice, a feed for Oates too far. Tinordi gives it to Chambers. Minnesota in their own end. We'll watch Casey. He heads to the bench. Here's Madonna carrying over the line. Extra attacker. Tinordi at the left point. Tinordi into the slot. Chambers right point. A shot! Kicked out by Riendeau. Minnesota goal empty. Blues can't clear. Chambers keeps it in. Smith in the corner check. Craig centers right out in front. Loose puck. Bellows with it. Knocked down. 48 seconds to go to Chambers at the point. His shot blocked. Madonna whirls. His shot hits the body. Then the play is stopped by Kerry Fraser. Oh! Tinordi knocks the Blues player Butcher down, and I believe it was Basson who stepped in. Maybe Oates. It was Basson. Oh, Tinordi really gave Butcher a shot, and Tinordi is escorted to the penalty box. There's 43 seconds to go, and the Blues are up 5-4 in a great game in Minnesota. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
Blues have a slim one-goal lead. Chambers with the goalie pulled had a great chance, right point, and Riendeau a nice pad save as he had it played perfectly, and then Tinordi in front. He just slugs Butcher. Whack! And down Butcher goes. And I think there was a penalty called before that punch by Tinordi. And Tinordi gets the extra minor. Well, wherever the Blues go, the Post-Dispatch is sure to follow. You can stay on top of your game with great hockey coverage all season long. For home delivery of the Post, call 622-7111. Let's pause 5 seconds for station ID. This is St. Louis Blues hockey.
You're watching Blues hockey on St. Louis 11.
Butcher gets 2 for roughing. Tinordi gets 2 for roughing and the original penalty. So he'll be off. And the North Stars call a timeout with 43 seconds to go. The Blues will have the man advantage. The North Stars, of course, can elect just to keep Casey on the bench, which would make the manpower situation even in terms of skaters. I think Minnesota's played a very good game, John, and the reason I like that, the fact they're playing very good hockey, is the fact it looks like they're going to play Chicago, most likely in the first round of the playoffs, and I think Blues fans would love to see Minnesota upset Chicago. But that's wishful thinking, at least at this juncture. Again tonight, Vince Riendeau has been outstanding. He has lost only 3 times in his last 17 games and only 7 times in his last 38. He has been a stalwart in goal. Well, nothing beats the excitement of the St. Louis Blues, that's for sure. And nothing beats the distinctively clean, crisp, cold taste of Budweiser. Nothing beats a Bud.
Can you mention the North Stars will most likely play the Hawks? They're 1-5-1 against Chicago this year, but in talking to assistant coach Doug Jarvis today, they are very confident that they can beat the Blackhawks. They lost by a goal yesterday, but you never know. The magic number, by the way, for Chicago to clinch first is 4. Any combination of 4 points won by the Hawks or lost by the Blues, and the Hawks will claim the North Division Championship.
The magic point is what it amounts to. So the Hawks would have a very difficult time not finishing first. Now the puck dropped outside the Blues line. Casey is on the bench. Skaters are even. Blues have the extra man in the goalie. Puck along the far boards. 33 seconds to go. Blues trying to clear it out. Chambers keeps it in. Puck in the corner. Brown checks his man. Then Craig after it with Stevens. Craig gets it. Centers! And Bellows can't control. 21 seconds in the corner. Smith taken out. Oates knocks a man down. Brown clears around the far boards. Too far for Hull. Will it be icing? They wave it off. One last rush for Minnesota. 11 seconds to go. Out to center ice, it's cleared. To Bellows. 5 seconds to go to Madonna. He'll shoot a long one. Kicked out by Riendeau. Into the corner, and that's it. The Minnesota North Stars undefeated streak of 13 comes to an end. They'd gone 11-0-2 in their last 13 at home. They'd won 5 in a row. But they cannot defeat the St. Louis Blues, who win it 5-4 tonight here at the Met Center in Bloomington. Brett Hull gets 2, number 82 in the first period, and number 83 to tie it in the third period. And it is our Budweiser play of the game.
Butcher makes the play, a quick centering pass to Brett Hull, and he whips it low by Jon Casey. Giles, I believe, screened the North Star goalie, and Brett Hull gets his second of the game, and that tied the game, and brind'amour got the game winner moments later, but Hull's goal, our Budweiser play of the game.
And it gives the Blues, brind'amour's goal, a 5-4 victory. And they now are 4-1-2 against Minnesota. They win 3 out of 4 here as we turn to the Budweiser 3 stars tonight.
The third star, North Stars defenseman Mark Tinordi had a goal and 2 assists. Dave Lowry had another goal tonight, his third on the trip, 17th of the year. And tonight's number 1 star, Adam Oates, had 3 assists. And Oates played another superb game, and he is our Budweiser first star tonight.
And you tip your hat to Riendeau. You probably tip your hat to Brett Hull, who has a pair of goals and is not even able to be one of the 3 stars. Both teams played well. The Blues get the victory. The final is 5-4 here in Minnesota. We'll return to the Met Center in a moment. This is St. Louis Blues hockey. A big 5-4 road win for the Blues, and they have completed the road portion of the season. And it is their finest road season in the history of the franchise. Hi, everybody. Ken Wilson with John Kelly, welcoming you back. 23 wins, 13 losses, 4 ties. The best in the NHL this season, the best road season the Blues have ever had. And it was culminated tonight, John, by a Rod brind'amour goal in the third period that broke a 4-4 tie.
After the North Stars had scored 3 power play goals, Quinn has the puck on right wing, shoots it, and brind'amour right in front jams it through the legs of Casey. brind'amour's 17th of the year. But Quinn made the play going to the net, and brind'amour put it in.
Well, Chicago has a game in hand on the Blues. Chicago has played 76 games. The Blues and the Kings have each played 77, and it's going to be tough to catch the Blackhawks.
Again, the magic number for Chicago, 4 points. Their schedule down the stretch: tomorrow in Toronto, Thursday at home against the Maple Leafs, Saturday the Hawks are here in Minnesota, and they wrap up the season at home Sunday against Detroit. So it looks like Chicago will finish first, but the Blues are not conceding first place, and they're making the Hawks win their games.
No question. The Blues would love to finish the season with 7 straight wins. They've won 4 in a row now. What a road trip. And finish at home now with 3. Thursday night, Toronto, or the Islanders rather, then Saturday night, Toronto, and the final home game and regular season game will be this Sunday night at the arena against the Minnesota North Stars. Just maybe it would be a 7-game win streak that would take the Blues into the Stanley Cup playoffs. Well, for John Kelly, this is Ken Wilson. Thanks tonight to Tom McLaughlin, our producer-director, for another fine job. He has been with us all season. Thanks to you for joining us here at the Met Center in Bloomington, Minnesota. Once again, the final score tonight, the St. Louis Blues 5, the Minnesota North Stars 4. St. Louis Blues hockey has been a presentation of Bud Sports through the facilities of KPLR TV and KMOX Radio. Our next telecast on KPLR TV, St. Louis 11, will be the final game of the regular season this coming Sunday night, Easter Sunday night, March 31st, against the Minnesota North Stars. That telecast will start here on St. Louis 11 at 6 p.m. Now stay tuned for St. Louis 11 News with Steve Schiff and Christine Buck. Mark Ferree will have the weather forecast, and Rich Gould will recap the day.